finally quit my job. Am I retired? Well, you'll have to stick around to the end of the video to see that.
So it's Christmas Eve. We were unwrapping presents. A couple people called out today, and there's nobody else that can cover, so I'm on my way to cover. I had to leave early. Yeah, I'm pretty done.
So for the past few years, well, I've been doing this full-time job along with my side hustles. My life has kind of looked like this. Pretty much like every morning I would wake up, I would write for the first about an hour, work on YouTube, sometimes spend the whole morning, from like 8 o'clock till about noon on YouTube. It also takes me far too long to shoot videos. That can go anywhere from 8 to 15 hours per week. And then I go to work. So my daytime hours were 1 o'clock till about 9 or 10. Somewhere it varied a lot depending on what was going on. Sometimes I had to work in the morning, sometimes it was later at night. And then I would be also doing real estate. So I'd be going to classes, researching stuff, calling people, setting up showings, viewing properties for myself and for other people. So pretty much every morning would be side hustles for 4 hours or something like that. And then I'd be working for 8 hours. And for the past few years, I just haven't had much of a life during the week. So it's really been a lot of work laying this groundwork for the past few years, but it's really beginning to pay off. So kind of the reason I started this channel was to show what a normal person can do and how they can reach financial independence through normal pathways. A lot of people that you might follow are making 50 grand a month from YouTube ad revenue, or selling courses, or doing this crazy like flipping real estate and just doing stuff like that. And I wanted to show that a normal person following these steps that I talk about with frugal living, house hacking, spending less, earning more, and investing the difference intelligently, they can reach financial independence. I am not there yet, but I did just quit my day job. So a little backstory so that you can see that I'm a normal person. I'm not making a lot of money from YouTube. I'm not making a lot of money from anything really right now, but I do have the freedom, to kind of take that risk and take that next step to reach financial independence. So I've been doing my day job for about the past 13 years. So around then, my family, like the market crashed and everything, we had some issues with our jobs, and my dad started a commercial office cleaning building. We kind of had that opportunity come up and we started that. So we started cleaning offices at night. I remember the first night when we were doing this, I was 11 years old. My brother was there, I think my sister was there, my mom, my dad, and we're all working. We're doing this because we got to make ends meet, and that's just what we had at the time. I was falling asleep on the front steps. I was just this little kid, but every night we would drive, I think it was almost an hour to go to this place. We'd work there. And then we started getting other accounts, and then eventually after a couple years we started hiring people, and now recently over the past few years I have been partly managing this company. I've been the operations manager, so it's been hiring, firing, doing hundreds of interviews, coordinating all this stuff. So it has grown over that time, but I've been at that same company. I've been doing this since I was 11. So I think that was a really good thing for me, where I learned work ethic. I learned how to interview people and how to tell what type of people there would be and how to deal with people, the people under me, and then also people over me yelling at me because of something that somebody else does. So my family's always been kind of entrepreneurial in that my dad started a few businesses, my grandfather started a few businesses. Most of the people that I know started their own businesses, and so I've kind of always had that in me. So when we were younger, I remember me and my brother, we saw somebody selling marshmallow shooters, and they made them out of PVC pipes. So they're like these little guns that they would make. You put a marshmallow, like a little marshmallow on the top, you like spit it and it goes flying out. And we used to make those when this is probably when we were like 8 or 10 or something like that. And we would cut up these, you get a piece of PVC for like a couple bucks. You cut it up, you sell these things for 15, 20 bucks, and it would just take time. And we actually set up at like these little event things, and we would sell those. And I've always kind of done other things, from when I was doing part-time this whole time throughout my teen years and my early 20s. And when I was doing this full-time, I was doing, these part-time side hustles of working construction, doing concrete, working in stores, like doing these other stuff for other people. So it was always had lots of other things going on. At some point we were flipping stuff on Craigslist, and we've just always done other stuff. So I wasn't making a ton. I was making, a good amount for, a 21, 22, 23-year-old, however old I was. But it wasn't, a lot of money. It was in the, 50, 55, something like that. So I was saving like everything that I was making, right? Like I was at the beginning, I was living at home still, and I was saving absolutely everything. And then I eventually got my first house hack because I needed that work history and the monthly income coming in order to get approved for a loan. And now that we've just closed on our second property, we kind of came to that place where I've been working in the mornings. I do real estate, I do YouTube, I work on the properties, and then at the afternoons all the way through 9 or 10 o'clock at night, I'm working at the other thing. So I really have no time throughout the day, when I'm doing really 2 part-time jobs and a full-time job. It just wasn't really working. I had to decide, can I go ahead and take this step back where I'm going to earn a lot less for the next 6 months to a year, but eventually, my real estate will build up and I'll be able to make, twice, 3 times, 5 times what I was making before, if I stick with that and focus, or if I really want to focus on YouTube, maybe that can turn into something. We'll see. Smash like if you want it to. So I'm going to be totally honest with you guys on where we're at. Once we get this up and running, we're going to be able to live in this property and make, at least $1,000 a month from it. And then the other property, once I move out of it, they're both 3 units. I've talked about that in other videos. I'll be able to make $1,000 a month on that as well. So we'll have about $2,000 coming in passively, which should cover all of our living expenses. And then I am making, a couple $100 a month from YouTube, which is not a ton, but it does help a little bit. And then I'm also, got some real estate income coming in. So even with that, even though I'm not making a ton from real estate yet, because I'm just, kicking back into it, we decided to go ahead and take that step back from that security, that job that I don't really love. I wasn't really passionate about. It wasn't, like something that really I wanted to wake up in the morning for. And honestly, it was something that I kind of hated because I had this work phone and it goes off all the time and it was just really stressful. So I'm really glad that is no longer around and I don't have to, run out all the time, because I've worked like almost every Christmas Eve and Halloween and like all these holidays where a lot of people call out and I have to go cover them, or first thing in the morning, something, goes wrong and I have to, deal with that, or people mess up and, it's all the stuff that I have to deal with. And I'm really glad that I'll be able to focus now on something that I'm really passionate about, really be able to make an impact in other people's lives. Don't get me wrong. The job wasn't all bad. It wasn't all that hard. I got to deal with a lot of great people. I got to work with family. And I've actually kind of missed certain aspects of it. It was just certain aspects that wasn't really, what drove me to get out of bed every single day. It wasn't that thing that I was passionate about, that I loved to do. And so I think it was very important for me, very beneficial for me to have those side hustles that I've been working on this whole time. And I've tried so many different things. Like before this, I tried being an accountant. That didn't last long at all. I hate numbers. And I've tried a bunch of other stuff, not really gonna get into all that, but I think it's important to try different things and find out what is it that really you enjoy, and start building that on the side and building so that when you are ready to take that step away from your job, like I'm doing here, even though I'm not at the financial independence number, you don't have to. If you start building those other streams of income coming in on the side and start building up that passive income, preferably through house hacking, because you have no living expenses, plus you're having income, coming in, then you have that opportunity to do something that you love. So you don't necessarily have to stay in one place until you reach your end goal. You can take another path. So I think that was something that was really important for me, and I'd really recommend is, if you don't love your job and you want to get out of it, start doing other things. Start house hacking. Start a couple side hustles. See if you like it. If you don't like it, try something else. It's definitely worth those nights and weekends, as long as you can eventually transition into doing those things that really bring a lot of value to people. And like financial independence is not something that's just for other people. It can be for you. It can be for you in your early 20s, in your 30s, in your 40s, in your 50s, wherever you are in your life. So I just highly, recommend. I talk about this all the time, but it's frugal living. Getting your expenses really low so that you can get a little bit of passive income coming in, or enough saved up that you can take a step back and you can try other avenues. You can take a year, 2 years, 5 years and try different things. Even if they're earning a lot less, you can try these other things to find out what you're gonna love to do every day. And that way you also have that freedom where even if you do love your job, you absolutely love it, what if in 2 years you don't love it? Or you do have another, a backup plan so that you can transition into something else? What if your job just goes away in a few years, So even if you do love your job right now, I think the side hustles are really the key to financial independence, even if you do love your job. At least it was for me. I'm definitely not retired yet. I am gonna focus more on YouTube and trying to grow that. I don't know if I'll go to 2 videos a week. I'll have to see how that goes once the renovation's done here. And then probably focus on real estate a little more because I really enjoy helping people, especially house hack. I just think that it can change your life so much like it's changed mine, and anybody under the sun can do it. Even if you're working, like you're literally better off, instead of going to college, I was talking about this with some people last night, you're better off working at McDonald's and not getting in all that debt, and you can house hack through like all that, like having like a really crappy job rather than going to college and having all that student debt and taking years to pay it down and spending 4 years at college. I just don't think that's the way. It wasn't the way for me anyway. So yeah, hopefully I can find some people who I can talk into house hacking. If you're thinking about it, send me a message. I'd love to help you out any way I can because I think that's really fun. And I will see you next week.